What's up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my Draftkings MMA picks for UFC 267. We have Jan Blachowicz going against Glover Teixeira, and yeah, really looking forward to this card. We have 15 fights. The card's phenomenal, top to bottom. Cannot wait to get into it and talk some DraftKings here. Before we get started, if you guys can please leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, so you not miss out on all the other content throughout the week. I did post my full card breakdown and prediction video. I'm also going live at Friday, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time after the weigh-ins, and then also live once more 1 hour prior to when the prelims start. The prelims start at 10:30. I'll be going live early, 9:30 in the morning on Saturday Eastern Time. So, yep, lots going on this week. Really looking forward to this card, though, and really looking forward to breaking it down from a DFS perspective, and I say we get into it now. Starting, as always, with the fight doesn't go to decision lines. And at number one, we have Khamzat Chimaev going against the Leech, minus 240. Fight doesn't go to decision. So Khamzat Chimaev has never seen the third round. He's never been to a decision. He's getting in and he's getting out a lot of times. But, I don't even think he's been over like the 1.5 round mark as well. So, there's a really good chance that Chimaev comes out here and he finishes the Leech very, very early. I can definitely see that happening. But I guess there are some concerns with Chimaev in terms of, he was on the verge of retiring just a couple months ago. But it's good to see him back here. He is 9,500, very, very expensive. But, with his style, with his wrestling, his grappling, I think he's going to have a big edge there. I think there's a really good chance that he does get multiple takedowns here, get a lot of control time, and probably finish the Leech early as well. As far as the Leech goes, you could take a flyer on him if he's able to survive like the first round and a half, 2 rounds. If it does squeak into the third, maybe he's going to be live then. Maybe he can get a late finish, but I think Chimaev probably just runs through him. So for me on this one, I'm going to be more so on the Chimaev side at 9,500. Next we have Glover Teixeira going against Jan Blachowicz, and yeah, the main event has actually went to decision like the last 5 or 6 cards, so hopefully that changes here. And I'd be shocked if this did go the distance, but like I said, I was also shocked that Johnny Walker, Thiago Santos went the distance. I was shocked that Marvin Vettori, Paulo Costa went the distance. So, we'll see what happens here, but this is a fight that definitely should finish. Both guys are very dangerous. Jan Blachowicz has that legendary Polish power. Glover Teixeira, very good top game, very good submission game as well. And yeah, I think someone gets finished here regardless, and I think it's a fight to target. I mean, Jan Blachowicz, 9,000. Glover Teixeira, 7,200. When you're looking at Teixeira, first of all, he's very cheap. Second of all, for him to win, he's going to get takedowns. He's going to get control time, some ground and pound, possible submission. And when you look at Jan Blachowicz, I could see a situation where he potentially does not make the optimal lineup because there are guys like Islam Makhachev who's going to wrestle, guys like Khamzat Chimaev who's going to wrestle, guys like Tagir Ulanbekov who's going to wrestle. But Jan Blachowicz is going to be live for a bunch of knockdowns. I can see him knocking down Teixeira multiple times, and he's going to be live for a knockout in pretty much any round. But if this does, go to the 4th, 5th round, and if it is a low-volume striking fight where they kind of, look at each other a little bit for 4.5 rounds, maybe Blachowicz gets like a 4th or 5th. Maybe it does not find the optimal lineup, but I think it's a solid spot still. So a fight I'm definitely targeting both sides. I think Teixeira is very interesting at his price tag. But Blachowicz does have that legendary Polish power, and he very well could put out the 42-year-old Glover Teixeira. Next, we have Albert Duraev going against Roman Kopylov. This is one that I definitely do want to target. We have a clash of styles here. We have Kopylov, who's a very good striker, a 100% finish rate, 100% of his wins are all by knockout as well. And we see that Duraev has been knocked out 3 times. And Duraev, very good at, getting takedowns, very good submissions as well. I think if he does take down Kopylov, his submission will happen shortly after. So yeah, it's either Kopylov is able to catch him or Duraev is able to take him down and submit him. Simple as that. And I'm more so on the Duraev taking him down and submitting him. He has 9,200. I do think he'll be one of the lower-owned guys up there because you have Jan Blachowicz, you have Chimaev, you have Makhachev, guys like that. So yeah, I think Duraev might go a little bit under-owned, and for that reason, I do like him a lot. I think he's in a great spot here. As far as Kopylov, don't mind him as a punt because if he does win, it is probably by knockout. And then finally, Andre Petroski going against Yazong Hu, a fight that I do think is going to finish. Both guys actually have 100% finish rates. Petroski, what you're looking at here is takedown upside, control time upside, submission upside. Hu Yazong has been submitted before. His ground game does not look great from what I've saw. Of course, that was a couple years ago last time we seen him in the cage, but he's coming back here, and Petroski, his wrestling's legit, his grappling's legit. The gas tank's a little bit of an issue, so I could see a scenario where Petroski does slow down if he's not able to get an early finish, and maybe Yazong gets a late finish, but I think Petroski's in a solid spot here, 8,600. I do like it, but as far as Yazong, who I don't mind taking some shots on him, if he he wins, it's probably by knockout, as we've seen Petrosky get finished. The later the fight goes, the gas tank's not really there, so that could be a path to victory for Yazong as well. But moving on to the quarter plays, we have Khamzat Chimaev at 9,500. Probably one of my favorite plays on the slate. I mean, Jing Liang Li, the Leech, he has a 59% takedown defense. Chimaev, his wrestling is next level. His grappling is next level. Like I said, the only concern I have is he was on the verge of retiring a couple months ago. But if he is coming back 100%, I don't see why he can't come out here and just put up a phenomenal score. I mean, it's crazy to see what he's done to his opponents thus far. And I know, Reese McKee, John Phillips, Gerald Mearshart, they're not, the greatest competition in the world, but just how he dominated him is just something crazy to watch. And I think he does get another dominant victory here inside the distance. So 9,500, I do like Khamzat Chimaev quite a bit. Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos, 8,500. I think this fight's going to be, one of the lower-owned fights. I think everybody's going to target Chimaev. Everybody's going to target the main event, the co-main event. But Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos, 8,500. He is a finisher. A 78% finish rate, 64% by knockout, going against Benoit Saint Denis, who is a very exciting guy. I do see why the UFC signed him, 8-0, all coming by finish. I think he's been to the third round maybe one time. And, Zaleski, he has a ton more fights, over, 4 times the amount of fights as Saint Denis here. And Denis, what I noticed about him was he's very green. He just started MMA in 2019. His first pro fight was just a couple of years ago. And he's very green, he's very sloppy, he gets up position, he's more submission over position, and that's just not going to work against Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos, who's a black belt in his own right. So, yeah, I like Zaleski to actually finish Saint Denis here, and I think that, or Saint Denis, and I think that he's going to be pretty low owned as well. So, it's 8,500, I do like Zaleski quite a bit, but it's definitely a fight you're going to want to target both sides of, because Saint Denis is pretty, he's explosive, he's a finisher, 100% finish rate, but I think Zaleski's going to finish him here himself. Jan Blachowicz, 9,000. Yeah, I don't mind Blachowicz. I think there's actually a scenario where he can rack up multiple knockdowns. Teixeira is getting knocked down a ton. He got knocked down like 3 times in the Santos fight, 2 in the first round, 1 in the third or fourth. And then, yeah, I could see Jan Blachowicz knocking him down. I noticed in an interview he said that, guys make this mistake when they knock down Glover Teixeira, they kind of rush in and get the finish, and that's where Teixeira is able to dig deep and find a takedown. So he said he's going to take his time when he knocks down Teixeira, which is good. You don't want to rush in and allow him to get in on your hips and take you down. So yeah, I like Blachowicz here. He's going to have 5 rounds to work with, maybe not the most volume in the world. He's not going to be going for takedowns. He's not going to get control time. But, there's a very good chance he does knock out Teixeira. There's a very good chance he can rack up multiple knockdowns as well. And for 9,000, I don't mind him at all. And then Andre Petrosky, 8,600. Yeah, a little bit iffy on this one. I'm definitely going to play both sides, but I think this is a fight to target for sure. Petrosky, he has a path to victory to score a ton of DraftKings points. I mean, we take a look at Yazong, and he literally has a 0% takedown defense, and that's mostly because he did not stuff any takedowns in his UFC debut, which was at heavyweight. This fight's at middleweight, but still did not like what I saw in that aspect. But again, he was 23 years old at the time. He's now 26, so we very well could see improvements in Yazong. But I really do like what I see from Petrosky in terms of the grappling and the wrestling. The striking definitely needs some work. The gas tank is a little bit suspect as well. But if Petrosky does win, I see him scoring a ton of DraftKings points. So for that reason, I do like him quite a bit. So getting into our GPP plays here, our tournament plays, Islam Makhachev, 9,600. Yeah, so he's very expensive, but I do think there's a lot of value on the slate that you can go up and get him. He's going to go for a ton of takedowns. He's going to get a ton of control time. Possible finish, I'm kind of leaning more so a Makhachev decision, which at 9,600, it could be enough to find the optimal lineup, depending on how good Dan Hooker's get-up game is, how much get-up game is, how many takedowns Makhachev is able to get. But I think Makhachev's definitely somebody to keep your eye on because he's going to implement a wrestling-heavy game plan, and that's pretty good for DraftKings. So, yep, do like Makhachev, 9,600. Albert Duraev, kind of the same thing, but I think there's more finish upside with Duraev here. This guy's very dangerous, and we saw Kopylov get submitted very easily against Karl Roberson, somebody that typically gets submitted in his own right. But yeah, Roberson took him down, and there was like no resistance at all from Kopylov. Roberson was able to submit him shortly after. And I think if Duraev gets him down, it's going to be, quick work. I think he gets him out of there pretty easily. So yeah, Duraev, somebody I'm really looking at, 9,200. Duraev has been knocked out 3 times, so that is a path to victory for Kopylov, a knockout. But I think more often than not, he's going to take down Kopylov and submit him shortly after. Petr Yan, Going against Corey Sandhagen, this fight is going to score a lot of DraftKings points. I think this fight is very important, especially taking a look at the price tags. Petr Yan, 8,800. Corey Sandhagen, 7,400. I think the winner of this fight is going to score a ton of DraftKings points. I do like the Yan side here personally. 8,800. You're going to get a ton of strikes. Both guys land just over 6 significant strikes per minute. And then you also have Petr Yan, who's going to go for takedowns as well. Sandhagen, his takedown defense is not that great. Before the Dillashaw fight, it was like something crazy, like 29%, 30%. Since Dillashaw went for like 2 for 17 on takedowns, it now is bumped up to 60%, but still, I still have question marks about the takedown defense of Corey Sandhagen. And he has a really good get-up game, so that can even mean more takedowns for the Yan side. So yeah, I do like Yan quite a bit. 8,800, I think in a win, either guy has a really good chance of making the optimal lineup. I think it does go to decisions, so you have an extra 2 rounds to work with. And yeah, I do like Yan here though. But yeah, Sandhagen's definitely somebody to keep an eye out on as well. Damir Ismagulov, yeah, so this one's interesting. So I don't necessarily think he gets a finish, but he could. And you take a look at Damir Ismagulov. For him to win this fight, I think he could win it striking, but I think the path to least resistance is going to be taking down Magomed Mustafayev, who has a 23% takedown defense. We saw Kevin Lee take him down 7 times. He was also taken down 2 times in his debut. And we have seen Ismagulov kind of implement a wrestling-heavy game plan. He did it in his UFC debut. He did it in his last fight against Rafael Alves. Alves cracked him early. He was able to control the rest of that first round, and he ended up getting takedowns in the second and the third round. So yeah, I kind of think Ismagulov, if he's going to win, I'm kind of leaning towards decision, possible submission. Mustafayev has been submitted 2 times, but Ismagulov's not much of a submission threat, so yeah, probably a decision. But even then, he's going to go for takedowns. He's going to get control time. The striking is very close, very competitive, but yeah, I think the path to least resistance is taking Mustafayev down to the mat and taking him down there multiple times. So I think that does score decent on DK. So getting into our live dogs, Glover Teixeira talked about it a little bit, 7,200. If he does win, it's probably going to be the optimal lineup. This guy's an all-out finisher. We have seen Blachowicz knocked out 2 times. He's been submitted once. His submission loss did come back in like 2009, something a long time ago like that. But yeah, Glover Teixeira, his wrestling's really good. Yes, he's 42 years old, but he just keeps on getting it done, and he keeps on getting it done as an underdog. He's somebody I'm definitely going to have in my player pool. If he does win takedowns, control time, ground and pound, and probably even a finish. He's very dangerous on top. So yeah, don't mind some Glover Teixeira at 7,200. Hugh Yazong, 7,600, kind of a question mark here. We don't know a lot about this guy. He's fought at heavyweight, light heavyweight, and he's making his middleweight debut in the UFC. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, he trains at Tiger Muay Thai. This guy was young. He's still young. 3-year layoff. We could see massive improvements from the guy, and I'm not sold completely on Andre Petroski and his cardio and his striking. And Hugh's going to be the bigger guy as well. So yeah, I don't mind some shots on Hugh Yazong. I think this is a very important fight to target as a whole, the Petroski-Yazong fight. And I don't mind some shots on him at all. Corey Sandhagen, yeah, 7,400. This guy throws a ton of volume. He lands 6.32 significant strikes per minute. Takedown defense is questionable, but get-up game's phenomenal. If he does win, there's going to be a ton of strikes, some control time mixed in there. And I think the winner of this fight, there's a really good chance that it is optimal. So yeah, Corey Sandhagen, good salary savings, 7,400. Somebody I do like quite a bit. He's going to be a very popular underdog, and rightfully so. It's a fight you do want to target. And then Benoit Saint-Denis. Yeah, so a little bit of question mark about this guy as well. He's fought, pretty much nobody. Going against a veteran of the sport in Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos, a more experienced guy. But Saint-Denis, if he does win, it's probably some type of finish. I mean, this guy's very dangerous. Like I said, he's very sloppy, submission, over position. But if he does win, maybe he can catch Dos Santos in something. So we'll see. But he's a guy that I don't mind sprinkling some on because he is very dangerous and has that 100% finish rate. I guess another guy I did want to point out that's not on the video. Magomed Mustafayev is another guy that has a 100% finish rate. We saw Ismagulov get knocked down in his last fight by Rafael Alves. So if Mustafayev wins, could be a knockout. Another guy that I don't mind there. So pump plays, Makwan Amarkani. Yeah, if Amarkani wins, it's going to be early. It's going to be probably a submission. He's very, very good. He's good wrestling. The grappling is top notch, but the problem is his cardio is so bad. But yeah, if he does win first round submission, he got a first round knockout in the UFC as well, so that it's on the table. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But I think Makwan is the definition of a pump play. If he does win, there's a really good chance it is on the optimal lineup, but there's also a good chance that he does gas out after a couple minutes, like always. So we'll see what happens there, but I think Mac 1's a decent pump play. And then Roman Kopylov, a guy with a 100% finish rate, all by knockout. Duraev has been knocked out 3 times. Duraev coming from the Contender Series. I think Duraev probably does submit him, but Kopylov can maybe catch him. We'll see what happens there, but I think Kopylov's a decent pump play as well. And then Magomed Ankalaev, 9,100. He's somebody that I'm not going to have a ton of. I mean, you have guys like Jan Blachowicz up there, Piotr Jan, Islam Makhachev, even Alexander Volkov, Khamzat Chimaev. I just rather play all these fighters over them. Albert Duraev. I mean, the list goes on and on. I'd rather even play. Yeah, I'd rather play Petrosky at a savings there. I'd play Damir Ismagulov. I'd play Tagir. I'd play everybody over this guy. I guess his path to victory, to finding the optimal lineup, is like a 60-second knockout. That, I mean, it could happen. You know, it could happen for anybody though. He's not going to. Maybe he gets a takedown or two. Uzdemir has a very good takedown defense. He's not going to get much control time, much takedowns. Not much volume as well. I think it's going to be probably an Ankalaev decision. Maybe he gets him at some point. But yeah, 9,100. There are other plays I do like more. So yeah, guys, that's about it. Just want to remind you guys, it's always a great time to become a member of the Patreon and receive full access to my model. Uncle Weezy also does the Draftkings and FanDuel stats. Tons of great information there. And everything's updated already. My premium projections are already out. The lineup optimizer is already everything's set up in there. The projections are in there. You have the ownership projections as well. My GPP lineup percentages will be out soon. My DraftKings article out on Thursday or Friday. So yeah, everything's out like a day early this week because DraftKings got the salaries out early, which is always nice. And there's no, as of now, there's like no late replacements or anything kind of messing with the slate. So I was able to get the video out early, able to get some content out early, so that's great. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you guys can please leave a like on your way out, subscribe to the channel. It'd be much appreciated. And good luck for UFC 267.